This is the Apple Aesthetic. I'm Rich on Rich Aesthetic, and today let's wake up early with a new app called Awake, enabled by iOS 26. Let's wake up. iOS 26 has introduced a new API called AlarmKit, which has enabled a whole new class of apps. And that's not just limited to waking up type of alarms, but apps can find a whole lot of creative ways to use this. For example, reminders that actually come with an alarm to make them more prominent. Apple actually has seen so many apps like this that in iOS 26.2, this is going to be a native feature in Apple's own Reminders app. Now, going back to alarm apps, previously, there were other alarm apps. For example, I used to use Pillow, but those were a little different because they had the screen on all night just without any light, which was fine with an OLED screen. So that way in the morning, they could have like an alarm. But it's kind of a hacky workaround, and I'm not really sure how healthy that actually ever was for the phone. Enter AlarmKit. Now apps can use the native alarm view on the screen, but change the text on those buttons as well as what happens afterwards to better match their own app's behavior or goal. And that's where Awake comes in. Awake's mission statement is essentially just to force you to wake up. See, I've never had an issue waking up to the alarm sound. That's fine. The problem comes with when you finally stop the alarm. I tend to stop the alarm before I'm even out of bed because my phone is right next to the bed so that I can hear it. Even after a full night of sleep, you feel a little groggy, and for me, that's about 7 to 8 hours. You don't actually lose the groggy feeling until you actually get up and start moving. For example, getting up to splash your face with cold water. So Awake solves this by not allowing the alarm to stop until you complete some challenge. And there are currently 5 built-in challenges. Those are math quiz, lighting up the room, step count, code scanning, and rotating your phone, which sounds less annoying than it actually is. The app has a freemium model, so some of these challenges are free to use. However, you can only set one challenge. Whereas if you subscribe, you can choose any of the challenges, of course, but also select multiple challenges so you get greeted by a random challenge every morning. And each of the challenges has different settings that you can set. For example, the math quiz, you could choose the number of questions as well as the difficulty level. And the code scanning challenge allows you to add multiple codes. And while you are your fully awake, rational self, you should probably hide those items around the house. So you have to have a more effort level to actually be able to scan the code. Because if you were to, say, put your toothpaste next to the bed, well, that's not very much of a challenge, is it? Now, I'll let you explore the app to check out the other challenges and their settings, and instead I will show you each of the challenges and what it looks like, or what it might look like to complete those. Besides the built-in challenges, there are some other apps that are being integrated with Awake, which is pretty cool. And it's actually led me to try a new app called Push, which is just, it's a push-up app that uses the true depth sensor to count your push-ups for you, which is super cool. And I think this is my favorite challenge. You can also choose to solve a puzzle from the Art of Fauna, or take a language lesson from Lango. Neither of those apps I use, but if any of you use them, leave a comment down below. Currently, there is one more challenge that we know of coming to the app called Say Mantra, but it's in development and it's not out yet. Now, for a brand new app, it's a really strong start, but I do hope that the developer takes the responsibility of having a subscription seriously and sets a goal to say maybe add a new challenge every month or so. There are a few other features to help make waking up just a tad bit better. Awake solves snoozing into oblivion by allowing you to set the number of times you're allowed to snooze for, as well as the duration. Awake also solves getting annoyed with your alarm by allowing you to select from multiple sounds, and if you select more than one, obviously, like the challenge, you'll get greeted by a random sound every day. And there are more sounds coming soon. The sounds and snooze options are tied to the schedules, of which you're allowed to set multiple. So as you can see here, I have two schedules, one of them for weekdays and the other for weekends. Both of my schedules are set to a different duration and have different sounds that I chose. I chose softer ones for the weekends and the more brutal ones for the weekdays, and a different amount of times that I'm allowed to snooze for, as well as duration of snooze. Lastly, you can optionally get a morning briefing, which presents you with a few different categories of what's going on that day. The built-in categories are the weather, as well as your calendar events for the calendars you have selected. And then there are two app integrations, one being your tasks from Structured, and another one being to block social media use from OneSec. There is a daily podcast option coming soon, but I'm not sure what that means yet, and I also don't know if it's for podcasts or a third-party app integration. This is the weakest part of the app, but again, it's a brand new app, so we can let it slide. For me, though, I would say adding native reminders support would make it just so much more useful, as that's where I keep all of my tasks, and I'm willing to bet most people keep their tasks in reminders. But that also being said, I think it's really cool just the amount of integrations with other apps that this developer has put into the app, and I hope he keeps that up, and maybe it's a trend we can see some other apps doing, at least where it makes sense. Besides adding reminders to the morning briefing, I think it'd be cool if the morning briefing as well as challenges could also be set to the schedules, at least optionally, because personally I think more customization is always better, and it doesn't have to be turned on by default. And that's all I got for this app. Let me know down in the comments below what your morning routine is. Do you use Awake or not? Are you going to try using it now? Sub to the channel to get more ideas regarding Apple and your devices. I am working on this huge update to the finance sheet video I put out a few months ago. So until the next one, Rich Aesthetic on the Apple Aesthetic out. Peace.